Hey polish fans, it's Caroline again and welcome to another video here at Wild Wind Lacquer. In today's video we have a long time coming sorting video of the polishes that I've kept from that huge estate haul of nail polish. We are going to start with the CBLs, or the colors by Llarowe, and what we're looking at today is a selection of the purples that lean towards the berry side of things. We do get into some of the deeper tones here as well. Here you can see that I did try to start this video, goodness, probably about a month ago by now. It has been a while, my apologies. But I was noticing that the top coat that I used for all of my swatches, which is one of the reasons that this took so long, didn't dry shiny. And I don't know if that's what the top coat is meant to do or if it just doesn't top coat very well over the swatch sticks. In any case, I had to stop that video to end up top coating everything. And here we are today. So again, apologies about this taking so ridiculously long for me to get to, but we're going to get started on these today and see what we can do as far as comparisons and seeing which ones I'm going to keep. Now, I have set for myself a tentative goal of only keeping about 50% of the polishes that I've kept, and we'll see how that goes. The first time that I tried this round of polishes, I was already stumping myself right up here at the top, but I'm going to try to push past that and make myself, like I said, get rid of as many as I can, because yeah, a lot of these, especially in this grouping, are at least similar enough that I feel like I don't need all of these. There are some that might seem pretty close, and we'll look at those pairings as we go through this stack and see which ones look alike. All right, let's go ahead and start up here at the top. The first one is a Colors by Llarowe, as are all of these, and this one is Window to My Soul. Now, this one in the bottle is this sort of burgundy leaning polish. Now, it is still sort of in that burgundy range, but it does have some berry lean to it. So I decided to put it in with this. Now, a lot of these polishes, especially ones that have a multi-chrome or a hollow, could definitely be assigned to different color categories. So that's another sort of game we play with these color categories. But there it is on the swatch nail and in the bottle. As you can see, this one has a lot of hollow and is really pretty. I'm going to try not to do as much describing in today's video simply because you guys, if you've seen the Estate series, have probably already heard me talk about all of these polishes. But that one is Window to My Soul. And the polish that I thought looked at least similar enough to try to do a comparison of was Together Forever, and that was a Hypnotic Polish exclusive. So there we have them on the swatches, Window to My Soul on the left, Together Forever on the right. And I mean, as you can see from far away, they are pretty similar. Both of them fall into the same color category. Obviously, we do have some slight differences, but we do have a lot of similarities as well. The main difference I would say between these two is that here we have some more flakies in Together Forever. That is an additional component that Window to My Soul does not have. Also, there is a formulation difference. There's 3 coats of Window to My Soul to get to that opacity and only 2 from Together Forever. Both, though, are absolutely beautiful polishes. This was my first problematic comparison on my first go because they are different once you put them up to your nail. As you can see, Together Forever is a little bit lighter, which isn't super obvious right away, but for some reason it does make a difference up against my skin tone. So Together Forever is a little bit lighter. It has those flakies. How does one choose? I still actually don't know. So Together Forever or Window to My Soul, I don't feel like I need both. So yeah, difficult choice. Like I said, they're similar but different, as are a lot of these. I think for these two, I'm going to keep Together Forever and Destash Window to My Soul. They're both obviously very pretty. They were in my keep pile, but when you compare them, I think they are similar enough that I don't think I need the both of them. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and go with it because otherwise we'll be here all day. Okay, moving on to the next polish, we have Berry Gem, and this was a 2-coater. This one is a beautiful berry shade, amazing hollow. This one also has some flakies in it that add a beautiful dimension to this. And there it is on the nail, just absolutely beautiful. I love the addition of the flakies on this one. This one, I don't think I came up with anything that was an exact dupe. It was up here in this range, and I think my cats may have shuffled them around ever so slightly for me. So let me just double check and see. I think that might have initially been closer to being next to that one. Let me just do a little shuffle here. So we have Berry Gem and Uptown Funk You Up. Now they aren't dupes. For sure these two are not dupes, but they are the most similar as far as tones go in this exact range. Berry Gem does have those additional flakies, like I said, whereas Uptown Funk You Up has more of that straight up linear hollow and a bit more of a simplistic formula, but still absolutely gorgeous. I mean, look at the hollow on that. It is incredible. So, oh my goodness, did I just make another very difficult decision for myself? Oh my. Actually, comparatively, at least on the nail, I definitely want Berry Gem. Definitely want this one. Those flakies in here and those hollow are incredible. Yeah, that one's not going anywhere. So Berry Gem is going to stay. Does that mean that Uptown Funk You Up gets the boot? For now, I'm going to say yes, because we're aiming for 50-50, right? We are aiming for 50-50. So we are going to go with that and move on to the next. I'm going to do one last little shuffle here. There we go. I think the next two are kind of similar. Whoops, that one I actually think can get even moved over even more. Yeah. Yep, cats I think definitely shuffle these. Okay, next up we have tank tops and flip-flops. This one I think still sort of doesn't look that great underneath the top coats that I've chosen to use. Again, I don't know if that's just on these swatch sticks or not. I've had the swatch sticks for a while. I just haven't really used them for much. So I don't have much experience with how they look with polish on them in a top coat. In any case, it is a beautiful shade of purple. Again, we're dealing with a hollow. This one has a shimmer component in it as well. And the closest one I think in this lineup is You're to Blame. Now, again, we are not dealing straight up with dupes necessarily, but there we have them on the swatch stick. You're to Blame is on top, tank tops and flip-flops is on the bottom. I think here you can see a prime example of the difference in formulation. You're to Blame has a much more noticeable flare of that linear hollow, whereas once they're swatched, tank tops and flip-flops, I don't know, sort of loses a little bit of that linear flare, and maybe that's because it does have a shimmer component as well. I'm not sure, but in any case, I think that does make my decision for me. I'm keeping You're to Blame, and tank tops and flip-flops is going to be destashed. At least that one wasn't quite so difficult. Doing so good so far. So far, so good. Okay, the next two we're going to look at is the Crowning Moment. Again, a purple. I don't think I need to say that every time, right? Okay, and then we have Oops Orchid Hollow. That's just my own description. We had a number of polishes that came from CBL that were just labeled as oopses. So here we have the Crowning Moment on top and the Oops Hollow on the bottom. Again, not dupes. The Crowning Moment is actually a 3-coater, whereas the Oops is a 2-coater. And the Crowning Moment is actually still pretty sheer in that 3 coats. There on the nail, I think you can maybe kind of see, yeah, there you can see my finger moving behind it. So it isn't going to be firmly opaque. I think I failed to do the coats on the last few. Uptown Funk You Up was 3, tank tops and flip-flops was 2, and You're to Blame was 3. So I think that really makes the decision for me on this one as well. I did really like the addition of the flakies that we have in the Crowning Moment. But once swatched, it is a bit on the soft side. Not quite a dusty. I don't know. Okay, on camera it's looking really good. Dang it. I think I'm going to stick by my decision though. I'm going to try to go with it. We're going to keep the Oops and destash the Crowning Moment. I think we're going to go with it. Yeah, we're going to do that. Okay, so far so good. That first row's half and half. I'm pretty impressed with myself, if I may say so. All right, next up we have another Oops. This one I labeled as a Plum Hollow. That is a 2-coater. And then the one that I think is most similar to it is Fall is Calling. That one's up there on the top. And here they are on the swatch stick. This one I think is one of the closest comparisons so far once they're on the swatch stick. Now in the bottle, I can definitely see a subtle difference. There's like a magenta shimmer in Fall is Calling. And you can see a really beautiful flare of that hollow in the Oops polish. Now, that's not quite as noticeable once it's on the swatch nail. They're basically, I won't say identical, but they are pretty darn close. So I think because of that, Fall is Calling is going to be the one that I keep, and I'll destash the Oops. Next up, we have Hooligans, which is really amazing. And it's going to be hard to do a comparison to this one because it has a green shift to it that I don't know is going to come through on camera very well, but see that sort of an orange shift that you're starting to see at the edge? That is more prominent in person, as is the green and gold that I'm seeing. So a dupe is not necessarily going to be what we're dealing with here, but we are going to compare it to Talk to the Hand. Now, again, definitely not dupes, but they are right next to each other when I did my little lineup. So on the swatch stick, we have Talk to the Hand on top, Hooligans on the bottom. Again, once they're swatched, they do lose a little bit of the differences that you're seeing in the bottle. They have a slight dustier quality to the one that is Talk to the Hand. There's that deeper multi-chromatic to Hooligans, and I mean, both are beautiful. We also have flakies in Talk to the Hand, which is one of the things that I really enjoyed about that polish. I really like the mix of the hollows with those smaller flakies. They add a really beautiful sparkle to that polish. Now, I think on the nail, you can see a little bit there of the difference around the edges of Hooligans. You can start to see a little bit of that multi-chromaticness, and actually in person, they are even more different. The multi-chromatic oranges and golds start to come out to play. So again, much more different in person than I feel like they are on camera. Because of that, I want to keep Hooligans. Hooligans was a 3-coater, as was Talk to the Hand, so there's not a difference there. This one just has such a beautiful uniqueness to it. One of the other things that I do like about that one is the addition of the little silver shimmers. Kind of reminds me of the one that I'm wearing, which is Jen & Barry's Raspberry Parade. So those are similar but different as well, but I think I am going to keep Hooligans. Now, does that mean that I am destashing Talk to the Hand? I think so. We're going with it. We're going to destash Talk to the Hand. It is pretty, but we're aiming for that 50-50 mark, and I am on a roll today. Okay. Next up, we're going to look at What's Your Dream? And again, with the kitty cat shuffle, we're going to move these over and compare it to Plum Ready for Summer. So here we have Plum Ready for Summer and What's Your Dream? Subtle difference. The plum one is a bit deeper of a tone. You have a little bit more of a berry magenta lean to What's Your Dream. Both have a hollow component to them, but on the nail, neither of these are necessarily incredibly flary like some of the other ones that we've swatched are, as you've seen. So what does that leave me to think? What does that make me want to keep? Again, some of these really surprised me at how unglossy they still look, considering they are swatched twice now with a top coat. The first time I used a Wet n Wild, the second time I ended up using a Sinful Colors, and yeah, they just don't gloss. Again, I don't know if that's just the swatch sticks or what, but I think for myself, I'm actually really liking the deeper tone of the plum one, Plum Ready for Summer. The What's Your Dream is very pretty. Oh, both of these are in 2 coats, in case I didn't say that. I do like the more holographic quality or nature that you have in What's Your Dream. But I really like the depth of color in Plum Ready for Summer, so we're going to go with that as well. Plum Ready for Summer gets to stay. We're going with it. All right. Last pair in this second row, we're dealing with Nail Mail and Put On Your Party Hat. Put On Your Party Hat is on the top. Nail Mail is on the bottom. On camera, they are coming off nearly identical. Put On Your Party Hat has 3 coats. Nail Mail has 2 coats. Again, neither of these are necessarily super glossy or incredibly hollow, although if I were to say which one I think is most hollow on the swatch, I would say it's probably Put On Your Party Hat. Both of these do have an additional component though. I mean, in the bottle, Nail Mail does have a beautiful hollow. You have a little bit of a purple and magenta sparkle in a flaky in there, which I don't know if that's going to come through on camera. And then there is a like silver or very light gold speckle in Put On Your Party Hat. Now there's also a multi-chromatic shift to that one that I don't think is coming through on camera either. So there's another difference. So I think with this one, Nail Mail is actually going to get the boot, mainly because I did keep Plum Ready for Summer, and I feel like those are kind of comparable, not identical, but comparable. So Nail Male is going to go ahead and get the boot, and I'm going to keep Put On Your Party Hat because it's got an orange shift to it. See that sort of a warm edge there? It's much more prominent in person. We're keeping that one. Moving on to the last row, we are going to look at Dock of the Bay in 2 coats and Shiver Me Timbers also in 2. On the nail, these do have some subtle differences as they do in the bottle. I feel like Dock of the Bay is more red leaning and Shimmer Me Timbers has more of a fuchsia lean to it. Again, Dock of the Bay has a multichromatic quality to it that really isn't showing up very well in this lighting, but you see that orange that's sort of popping there at certain angles towards the base of the bottle? That is much more prominent in person. So I think you can probably tell where I'm going with this. Even though both are very pretty, I like the multichromatic-ness that I'm seeing in Dock of the Bay. And even though I do really like the flakies in Shimmer Me Timbers, I am really trying to stick to that 50-50 here and only pick one. So Dock of the Bay stays, Shimmer Me Timbers is getting the boot. All right, next up is going to be, I think, one of the hardest ones to compare because they really don't compare. We're looking at Twist and Shout on the bottom, Cindy Lou Who on the top. And I feel like on camera, you're seeing the fuchsia and berry qualities to them, but you're seeing differences as well. They're even more substantial in person because Twist and Shout is actually mostly a flaky that is creating that color. It is a much sheerer formulation, although both of these are a 3-coater, at least on my swatches. So Cindy Lou Who is more of a berry jelly hollow, and Twist and Shout has those multichromatic shimmers and flakies making up that coloration. So these two are actually very, very different. There is Cindy Lou Who on my nail, and there is Twist and Shout. I mean, again, this one is not even comparable really to each other. I almost could have not had Twist and Shout in here, but in the bottle, as you can see, there's berry. So I decided to just see if it did compare to any of the other ones in this color category. But because of that, I do think Twist and Shout is going to get a keep. I mean, it is really beautiful. I do really like the Cindy Lou Who, but I do think it is pretty jelly there on the nail. And yeah, I think I do have a couple more in this color category to compare it to. So let's go ahead and put Twist and Shout in the keep. And we are going to hold on to Cindy Lou Who and compare her to a couple more things. So here on the top now we have Temptation. That one is a 2-coater. On the nails, hopefully you can see the subtle differences. Temptation is a little bit darker, and as I said, it is only a 2-coater. Cindy Lou Who does have that squish factor as well as an additional component of some sort of a twinkle, but so does Temptation. Temptation, hopefully you can see that golden flash, is rather beautiful, very unique, and I think because of that, Cindy Lou Who is going to go ahead and get the boot, and I'm going to keep Temptation. The next two that we're going to look at is Burning Down the House on the top and Red Dawn on the bottom. Now these are another pairing where we do have a difference in depth of color. Burning Down the House is a couple shades darker, whereas Red Dawn is a little bit lighter. Now these two are getting into our more red leaning berry shades. Now both do have a berry quality to them. As you can see, when I tilt the bottle, you're getting a berry flash to them. But they're also very heavily red and purple. So beautiful colors, both of them. I think they actually have a very similar component in them, creating that fiery, almost multi-chromatic flash in them. Red Dawn also has an additional flaky in there, a little flash that is just really gorgeous. So both are similar, both are very beautiful. This one is going to be a little bit on the hard side to try to make my decision. Actually, I think both of them might have those little tiny flakies in them. So which would I prefer? Do I want the darker color or the slightly lighter color? I was actually really leaning towards Burning Down the House as keeping it, but I think on the nail, I'm actually going to go for Red Dawn. Yeah. Yep. So we're keeping Red Dawn, which is that one, and Burning Down the House is going to get the boot. All right. And then last but not least, we are looking at Obsessed with Marilyn. This one, I think the closest one to compare it to is that one from Burning Down the House. And I did Destash Burning Down the House. That one's on top. That was 2 coats. Obsessed with Marilyn is a 3-coater on bottom. And by comparison, actually, Obsessed with Marilyn is more of a wine shade. And I do love my wine shades. This is another one where I feel like the top coat just sort of disappeared from my swatch stick on this one. So I really don't know if I can make a proper choice with this one. But there it is on the nail. Definitely a wine or burgundy. I think I'm going to actually hold on to it because I really do like the richness of that burgundy, and I think on my own nails I might be able to get away with just 2 coats of this one. So Obsessed with Marilyn gets a reprieve. Where does that leave us? So that leaves us with 11 polishes destashed and 13 kept. So not quite a 50-50, but very, very close. Considering how difficult I started this first version of this video out, I am giving myself a pat on the back. If I can keep this up over the course of the remaining colors by Llarowe, we will be off to a fantastic start with these comparisons and destash videos from the estate haul. I do already have some reds set aside, as well as a couple of oranges. The oranges was definitely the smallest color category, and a lot of those are very, very different from each other, so that one should be pretty interesting. In any case, there we have it. 11 destashed from this video and 13 kept. Let me know down below which ones were your favorites. If you're new, definitely make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. That way you don't miss out on any of my new videos. If you missed out on the estate haul portion, you can see the playlist up there. There are a lot of videos, I will warn you. I think there ended up being 30 some odd videos, so grab a drink and enjoy those at your leisure. But in any case, we're going to go ahead and close out today's video with that, and thank you so much for watching. I'll see you on that next one.